discovers that his disappearing act is a lot more difficult than it looks.
And later, we'll hear how a story about two girls and a guy altered the future for a group of actors.
And now, here is Kreskin! Thank you. All I can say is I've come to the conclusion they shoot you people with adrenaline before the show goes on the air. I do about 180 college programs a year, but you people are just as priceless. You know, the joy of my programs has always been tuning in on the thoughts of you, my audience, and really, I'm not a psychic, I'm not a prophet, I don't have any special supernatural powers. And without your concentration, there isn't too much I can do. So do me a favor. You concentrate as clearly as you can, and if I say something that rings a bell in your mind, stand immediately and acknowledge it. Someone in the audience, I always jot down my thoughts as they come to me on a pad. The most remarkable thing is the pencil doesn't write, but the pad is there. Someone here in the audience is thinking in terms of, I guess it's the time of the year for it, fishing. Would you kindly stand, please? Who is that gentleman right down here? By the way, sir, who is John, may I ask?
That's me.
That's you, sir. Thank you, John. Where do you intend to go fishing, by the way, John?
Dorn Lake.
Where?
Dorn Lake.
Well, much
Up in
success.
the
Let me see if I can tell you how many fish you're going to catch. I'm not a fortune teller. John, I would suggest after the first trip, go again. There'll be better success. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, John. Someone in the audience thinking in terms of pool? A pool of some kind, P-O-O-L? Now, you know, ma'am, just say yes or no, because I don't want you to... I've never met you before, have I?
No,
what
you haven't.
What a charming smile you have on your face, really. Let me ask you, you're not thinking of the kind of pool that you swim in, are you?
Yes, I am. A larger one.
A larger one?
Yes.
A larger one. Do you also have... Oh, your mind is running kind of... You also have furniture on your mind of some kind?
Yes.
You're stunned. Isn't it your thing of buying furniture or what, please,
That's
ma'am?
right.
As a matter of fact, for your home?
That's right.
Really, your basic thought as I sat here and asked everyone to concentrate was that you're thinking of redecorating your house. Am I correct?
True.
Thank you so much for standing. I really appreciate it. I got to tell you something, and this is the wrong program to do this. I'm not going to develop it any further. There is really somebody at this moment who's thinking, by gosh, if he can perceive this, he's proved a point. The thing of gambling. Would you just raise your hand? I'm not going to develop it any further. Where are you? Raise your hand. Gal right in there? What kind of gambling, man? You don't play bingo, do you?
Poker, bingo, anything.
Anything. Well, thanks so much for standing. I can't really help you there, ma'am. Talk about personal problems. Thank you. You know, there's a funny story regarding that. I went to a church when I was in my early teens for a bingo game. And I didn't have time because I had a program that night. I was around 14 or 15. And I'll never forget my aunt out in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania said, Kress, you've got to show up there. Father Slavinsky always has followed your work and so forth. He's Polish, obviously. Well, I only played 3 games of bingo. To tell you what happened, and I'm not a lucky person in that way, the first game, which cost me a dime, I won a table. The third game, I won actually a larger table. And here I walked out after spending 30 cents with 2 large tables, with my aunt looking at me with hatred for walking out to the top of the game. So I can see why you had that in mind. By the way, just in passing, someone is thinking of taking a trip. Who is thinking of taking a trip? Is it to the United States? Yes. It is to the United States, ma'am? Yes. I'm not going to even pursue it any further because something becomes very strong in my mind that's more specific. I jotted down H-E-L. Fortunately, the next letter changed to an I. Someone thinking of a helicopter? Would you kindly stand, please? The gal right over there. Ma'am, let me ask you this and just say yes or no. Have you ever flown in a helicopter?
Yes, I have.
Very recently?
Within the last 6 months.
And I've never met you before, have I?
No.
Are you thinking of somebody else?
Yes.
A relative?
Not really.
Not particularly. Are you thinking of another part of the world? You're not thinking in terms of this country. You're thinking of another. What does the Arctic Circle mean to you, ma'am? What does it mean to you, please, ma'am?
My husband is a helicopter pilot up in the Arctic Circle.
Would his name be George?
That's right.
It is. I'd like the girl to get back to you. You were asking me if the girl will get back to you about a date of some kind. Is it a date? What's going to happen on that date? Don't tell me the date, but what's going to happen on it?
Possibly my husband will be coming home.
Now, you don't know for sure whether or not he will be coming home on this date, do you?
No, I don't.
But what you believe will be the date, is it a specific, just so yes or no, a specific month and a specific day?
Yes.
Ma'am, would it be June 16th?
That's right.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Folks, there's a theory on the part of some card sharps, obviously reflective almost of gambling, that the different colors of the cards in the deck, and of course half a deck is red, the other half of a deck is black, that the cards have a different weight, a different texture. I don't know, but I'm going to show you something in a moment that may very easily suggest that. Be back after the following commercial. I asked our audience, really, during this very brief commercial break, how many people like to play cards, and I was amazed how many gals did. Your name is what?
Rachel.
I can't say Rochelle. I cannot roll that out. What's your last name?
Gregoire.
My gosh, I've got problems. What nationality are you?
French-Canadian.
French-Canadian? Well, that's do you work here in the area?
Yes, I work at Sir John Curling Building.
Well, that's a plug. We just got a racetrack. My God, we've got a bingo player over there, a poker player, and now a racetrack. Come on, well, stay right here just for a moment. This is, actually, it's an effect that's basically dealing with colors. We're using a pack of playing cards, and it's a complete deck. As a matter of fact, let's leave the jokers in the deck, if we may, for the time being. This is I'm going to have to say Rochelle. You'll have to forgive me. 2 years of French, and I kind of forgot everything. The cards are shuffled. The deck is mixed. And this is pure sleight of hand. Actually, I don't even know if a red card weighs more than a black card, although my fingers are very sensitive. I want you, that's just a standard kind of fan, if you will. I want you to draw out, Rochelle, a playing card, any one on the deck. This is pure sleight of hand, so just, if I see the card, it doesn't matter. Just take it out, if you will. Now, show it, as a matter of fact. Let's turn it and show it to our camera. I don't even know, the camera right over here? Just hold it for the time being. Hold it in your hand. There is no monitor to help me, folks. Even if there were, it wouldn't matter that much. Now, just insert the card as I drop cards anywhere in the deck. I'm deliberately holding them face down. She's placed it all the way into the deck. And if you'll come down one more step, Rochelle, I'm going to shuffle the cards here on the table. We'll shuffle that. This is about the most thorough shuffle known. Now, what kind of cards do you play, by the way?
Oh, I play bridge, I play poker.
That's an excellent game, bridge. I wish I really knew it. You have to really play it constantly with people who will know the game. You would think, as I cut these cards, that I cannot see the faces of the cards, but I'm holding them at an angle. Now, I'm going to give it an overhand shuffle, and watch. All I want to ask you, that's kind of slow motion. It doesn't really matter. I spent years on that particular move. Now, I want to ask you this. If your card is down there, it won't even matter. What was the color of the card you chose?
Red.
Red. All right, let's turn over the deck right here. This will stand for the black pile. I think we lost 3 or 4 cards. Maybe you can gather them up for me. This will stand for the red pile. Rochelle, look. In this particular pile is every single red card in the deck. I don't know what we have there that fell on the floor, if we can just take it for just a moment. Here, I dropped out a whole batch of black cards, and along with them is every single black card, including the jokers, which I deliberately left in the deck. There was only one odd card in a spread of black ones. It is the 4 of hearts. What card did you show our camera? That is exactly it.
Yes.
You did it, and thank you very, very much. You did it. All right. You're a sleight of hand. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, Rochelle, I almost panicked when I saw those cards fall to the floor. I thought, my gosh, can you imagine if one of them were the card you selected? But they fell in a group, and they were all black cards. When we come back, we're going to enter the world of fashion designing. I may be a mentalist, but I really know very, very little about the future of changes in styles. Be back in a moment, folks. I hope that when I did that last card effect, I hope no one thought that when a few cards dropped to the floor that maybe there was some, you know, chicanery under the table or anything. If that were the case, I would have probably done the effect over again. But those were the actual 4 cards, and of course the gal told me during the break, she says, I didn't think it was going to work until she saw her cards in those 4. People write in. Now, we have the most glamorous ushers in all of television. I don't care what Johnny Carson says, because the men will never compare even remotely with the 3 gals who are in our audience. And I'm going to ask them to stand because they're wearing some beautiful outfits which have been created actually by the person who's the next guest on my program. First gal on my left is Yvonne, and that is Wendy. You notice how? Oh my! And the whole staff had a bet he'll never get the first name correct. Never get it correct. Now the funny thing is, on the floor there's a sign that tells me that that's Wendy right there. Here is Cynthia standing right here. Is the second guy, and that. Gee, they're both, oh, Cynthia. So I've got to turn my gaze for the time being. And this is Yvonne. And that's a beautiful study in blue, a beautiful material. Now last name? These gals act, of course, as usherettes, but they add an extraordinary charm to just the atmosphere of all our audiences. There's no doubt about it. I'd like to introduce to you the gal who designed these outfits and many, many others. She's a very fascinating fashion designer. Her name is Miss Marilyn Brooks. Would you come out, please, Marilyn? What? How are you? It's so nice to see you here. Marilyn, you know what I'd like to ask, first of all? I'd like to ask you to describe or comment on the meaningfulness of each of these outfits that the girls have on. Wendy and Cynthia and Yvonne, do they have to do with Canadian symbolism?
Well, of course, we're showing the maple leaf, but this is sort of the international things that are happening in fashion this summer.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ecology, or the flower girl, the very sort of happy, down-to-earth girl, healthy. She's sort of really into health foods. That's Wendy.
She's
right.
healthy, very, very healthy,
Yeah,
Marilyn, I can
right.
tell you
You noticed that, didn't you?
Well, I found that out. Well, we'll go on to the
That was sort of low. Yes, and this is, of course, the sailor look.
Cynthia has this...
Nautical, but nice. I mean, no.
Well, now, what are those designs on her dress, then? Are they leaf?
That's the maple leaf.
Leaf? Also
Done in
the
black and white, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And with the side slit, just in case you noticed she didn't have gorgeous legs.
No, I had noticed, very preoccupied.
With the dark
yes.
stocking, and then, of course, the really sort of groovy hairdo that really focuses on the large eyes.
She's beautiful, and so's the outfit. And this is Yvonne?
Yvonne is wearing the Oriental look, and whether you can play ping pong or not, this, of course, is a very big idea in fashion this season, the Oriental look.
I almost can think of it as being reflective in judo outfits as well. I mean, as far as the freedom of the sleeves and so forth,
right, yeah.
which is also an influence, I suppose, of the Orient.
You can really do a lot of shoplifting in that number.
Marilyn, you...
Large sleeves. I'm sorry.
No. I'm reading your thoughts, and they're becoming fascinating.
Okay.
Marilyn, a fashion designer such as you has to obviously anticipate or foresee trends. Do you think that perhaps some form of ESP enters into this? Do you think you have ESP in some way?
Well, a lot of things I've done, like in the past, whether it's been purchasing a shop, like, renting a store for one of my shops or something like that, I've used what I call my special Geiger counter.
Your special Geiger counter. Now, what is that?
Well,
rather
than sort of doing all the things that you learn in college and how to open up a store and find the right location and check out traffic patterns, what I do is I go up and down streets until I feel something. You're probably taking me away to Looney Bin in a couple of seconds.
No.
And then once I sort of feel this thing happening, and then once I go into the area, and I know whether it's the right place or not.
It's almost instinctual.
And this has happened with 8 stores, so, I think I've been right most of the time. It's too bad I haven't been that way with my partners, though. We've probably been a lot farther ahead.
Well,
anyhow.
The 2 of them just passed. There were 2 of them at one time, you say? 2?
Yes, yeah.
You also have had, what I understand, are rather unusual experiences. There was one that took place in In Spain, Barcelona, Spain?
Well, sometimes I've had sort of the feeling like I can guess signs of the zodiac or the exact date, you know.
You're interested in astrology?
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
This is the most common way of communicating with people. What sign are you in?
Yeah, I guess when you go to a cocktail party,